Welcome to Reddissimo, home of great Reddit stories. Don't forget to subscribe now. First Reddit story. AITA for never helping my older siblings out and letting my brother and his kids be homeless. My family is on a big divide about this, so I was hoping I could get an unbiased perspective. I am the youngest of 4 siblings, by far. I am 22F and my husband is 26M. My siblings are 30F, 32M, 33M. Between the 3 of them, they have a combined 14 children. They all have multiple children. None of them went to college, and they all work lower-paying entry-level jobs. I graduated last year, I started college in high school, and I work as a nurse. My husband works on planes, but I don't want to say what he does specifically. Our household income is about $200,000, and average where we live is about $80,000, I think. This is all relevant. My parents like to host big family functions for every holiday, and they bring the whole family together. Ever since I was a teenager, my siblings have always asked me for favors, mostly to babysit. I did it for a while when I was around 16, but quickly realized they didn't appreciate anything and there was nothing in it for me, so I stopped. For the past 6 years, I've had the "don't ask me for anything" stance, since my siblings are the type to ask for favors but never offer to help when you need it. They always borrow money from our parents but never pay it back. My oldest brother is getting evicted, and asked if him and his girlfriend and their 4 kids could stay with me and my husband. My husband and I own a 4-bed, 2-bath home. I told them no because they have a habit of settling in somewhere and not paying rent and refusing to leave. They also let their 4 kids absolutely destroy every rental they live in, coloring on the walls, holes in the walls, etc. My brother and his girlfriend are pissed at me, and they blew up at us at my mother's birthday party last week. They're going to have to stay at a shelter and they're saying it's my fault, but I think it's their own lack of responsibility. My other 2 siblings chimed in, agreeing with my brother, and they think I'm a sucky asshole. I think that my siblings suck and I don't want my house getting torn up by their heathens. I know that if I let them move in, I'd end up having to evict them, and they wouldn't pay for anything at all. I think it's not fair that they always ask me for money because I make more money than they do, and they treat my husband and I like we're some kind of upper-class snobs because we worked hard and made good choices in life to be able to buy a house early. AITA for not helping my siblings. Specifically, my brother, I guess. Update: I'm offering to pay for everyone to get a vasectomy/tube tied this Christmas. That's all I'm doing for anyone, and they better not call me ever because I'm not answering. Comments: the only feasible way to help is to gift them a used camper that can be parked on some other family member's property. A few thousand to keep them out of the shelter, give them some privacy and a place to keep their stuff, and wash your hands of their drama. Only if you want to continue to have a relationship. It definitely would be cheaper than letting them move in with you. When your brother and his partner have a little money, they can pay the lot rent to move the camper to their own space with proper hookups. If you go that route, tell them this is the only help you will be giving. Funny you mention that, I actually looked. All the used campers I saw on Marketplace and Craigslist that could fit them are all like $8K plus, and while I could afford it, I really don't want to drop that kind of money since I know they wouldn't appreciate it and would only complain about it not being good enough. We actually live in a low COL area. My brother just blows his money on tattoos, vapes and pot. They'd probably have enough to scrape by if they managed their money better. I offered to go over their finances with them at one point, but they refused. New Reddit story. Don't forget to smash the subscribe button now.
Second Reddit story. AITA for telling the truth about my 18th birthday and embarrassing my father to his university friends. So, bluntly, I, 20M, was an unwanted child. A whoops pregnancy that my parents were too religious to abort. As a result, I pretty much raised myself until I was kicked out at 18. I won't lie, it hurt being rejected by the people who were supposed to love me, but I'm at peace with it. With that tragic backstory TM out of the way, about 6 months ago, my parents reached out and started by apologizing profusely. I wasn't sure about getting back in contact, but they seemed genuine, so I tentatively went ahead. Things were going well, until they invited me to meet up in person. I showed up at the restaurant expecting a quiet dinner and a heart-to-heart. Instead, I found out that my father's fraternity had rented out the whole damn place for a 25-year reunion. He met me at the door and told me to act like we're a happy family in front of his old friends. I, being hungry as hell at this point, made a beeline for the buffet. He promised me dinner, and by God, I was going to have it. I tried to blend into the background, until I got to chatting with some other folks my age, my father's friends' kids I assume. They started talking about their parents and I nodded and smiled along. Then I was directly asked what I got for my 18th birthday, and I didn't know what to say, so I told the truth. So, what did your parents get you for your 18th? I got kicked out. Cue awkward silence. Oh my God, are you okay? That sounds awful. Yeah, I'm fine, I just moved in with my aunt while I go to my college. Where do y'all go? They then got to gossiping about their schools, and I made myself scarce shortly afterwards. Later that night, my father started blowing up my phone, admonishing me for embarrassing him. Apparently, what I said had gotten back to my father's friends who are now being very cold to my father. He was angry with me because it wouldn't have been a big deal to just lie and save face, and now he's in hot water with his university friends. I muted him and went to bed. I was sure that I was in the right here, but now I'm having doubts. I'm worried that my parents might not want to keep in contact after I basically threw a monkey wrench into his relationships with his university friends. So, AITA. Comments. NTA 100%. First and foremost, you will never be the AH for telling the truth. I don't mean any offense when I say this, but it's clear you are not at peace with what your parents did to you. Even in that last paragraph, you're still seeking the approval of the people who never cared about you at all. The fact that he told, not asked but told you to play happy family for his friends, is telling that they're not sorry at all. Even if they do go no contact, don't sweat it, they don't deserve you after what they've done. And keep in mind that they got back in contact and tricked OP into attending a reunion function instead of the promised dinner to clear the air. I think OP was going to be a prop from the first return to contact. I even doubt the buddies are cold to the father. He probably lied about that to OP. It's too easy to cover up. I'm sure doting dad covered himself by saying OP was out of control, so he had to kick OP out. Also proves that he knew it was wrong all along, and that he already knows he's the AH. He just wanted OP as a convenient prop for his frat buddies who actually love their kids. Would have dismissed OP at the earliest possible convenience afterwards.
New Reddit story. Don't forget to smash the subscribe button now. Third Reddit story. AITA for refusing to help my stepsister with her house purchase and telling her and my stepfather that it's because of how they treated me as a child. I'm 29F. When I was about 10, my mom married my stepfather. I have an older brother Luke who was 15. My stepfather had Amy and Ada who were 12 and 11. We didn't come from a privileged background, my mom was a minimum wage worker and my dad was absent. Our stepfather had a very good income. Their deal was that they wouldn't combine finances, and they would each contribute equally to the household, and then each takes care of their children with their spare money. So my mom never had anything for us, and my stepfather was spending big on his kids. This included holidays which Luke and I were excluded from. Stepfather would pay for mom, but not us. Luke and I also shared a room even though Amy and Ada had their own rooms and we had a guest room, because stepfather insisted that he was paying more towards the house so my mom's share would only get her one room for the kids. Luke and I were constantly teased for this situation by the three of them as we grew up. My mom always said that we should be thankful because if it wasn't for our stepfather we would not be living in a nice home in a good neighborhood. Anyway, Luke and I became determined to be able to take care of ourselves so that we wouldn't need to take nonsense from anyone. We have both done quite well with our careers and finances, and we are in a very good place. Since turning 18 and moving out, my relationship with the three of them has been very limited. I wouldn't call us friends, but we can exist peacefully if we are in the same place. I visited my mum recently and my stepfather mentioned that Amy wants to buy a house now that she's pregnant. He asked me if I'm able to help out a little with the deposit. The house is £500,000 and she needs a £150,000 deposit. She has £100,000 so far. £25,000 on her own, £25,000 from her mum and £50,000 from stepfather. He was asking if Luke and I can help cover the extra £50,000 and he said he'd pay us back as part of the inheritance eventually. I said no. He insisted that Luke and I both own our houses outright and with our incomes, so we should be able to help. I said whether I can or not is irrelevant, my answer is no. He reminded me that Luke and I each gave £10,000 to our cousin for buying a house as a gift. Amy is my sister and he's offering to pay us back. I said, that was our choice then, this is my choice now. He insisted that we should be willing to help out our family if we're able to. I replied back, like how you helped me and Luke when we were kids. Everyone just went quiet when I said this. After a while, he said if we went back in time he'd have done things differently, treated all four of us equally. I said that's good of you but doesn't make you entitled to my money now. He said he knows he's not entitled, that's why he's asking and promising to pay it back. I said the answer still is no, not entitled to a loan either. My mum later told me I could have turned him down without being an asshole or bringing up childhood, which he already feels guilty about. AITA. Comments. Absolutely NTA. And I think you did turned him down without bringing up your childhood, but he kept pressuring you, so it's totally understandable that you told the truth. Exactly, I only brought up our childhood after he tried to guilt me about how we're family and should help each other. Initially it was just a simple rejection. I don't think he feels guilty. He only regrets treating you guys badly now that you and Luke have turned out successful. You should forgive and move on. Coming from someone who was in a similar situation, I remember vividly the anger I felt towards my mum for not leaving her husband. But what I also saw was how fragile she was. Despite her tough facade, she was also struggling, if not more than us I realize now, by also having to carry the guilt of letting her children down, and was doing what she could to keep a roof over our heads and our bellies fed. It's a terrible world, and it's easy to say the mom is at fault, but there is so much more to being poor, being a single mom, being abused, physically or not, that we can understand. I don't think we should be so quick to judge people who are just trying to do their best. We're all human. Also do want to say, if not obvious already, NTA.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so. This will help us grow. Thank you once again. You guys rock.